Okay, wanted to show an example of how to pull a little more granular advanced company lists in Apollo.io. Obviously, you can build, and I'm specifically talking about sub industries. So, for this example, I had a client recently, they wanted to find US based coffee shops that are chains. So, basically, more than two or three locations. So, you might go by coffee shops is not one of the main industries that's available in Apollo. So what I would do to start with, you can use keywords. So these are really powerful here. So we'll put coffee in as just kind of a initial filter here. So it cuts it down to like 86,000 companies, but obviously these are not all really a fit. Nestle, as an example, is not a coffee shop. So then we're looking over at the just kind of eyeballing the industries that Apollo does use. So some of these restaurants are good. Retail is probably good. Food and beverages, maybe. Wholesale, maybe not. So I'm going to start to at least refine some of this down. Um, so we'll include retail, we'll include restaurants. So now we're down to 29,000. Um, so I'm going to put the account filter on it, US. So we're down to 17,000. So we're starting to get a pretty good list here. I mean, Starbucks, McDonald's, Pete's, Scooters Coffee, etc. Um, One thing we wanted, so this is an example. Okay, Tom's, their retail apparel. I don't know why coffee would be in here. They're a retail store. So I might do something mm, uh, like apparel and fashion. For the most part, and a coffee shop is not going to be apparel and a fashion too. So I'm going to go to like the exclude and add apparel in. So that kind of fine tunes it down a little bit. The other thing we want to do is, so this is starting to be a pretty good list. Tivana, Groundwork Coffee, whatever, Tully's is location. So we want to sell the chains here. So I'm going to pull out all the different filters, and we have number of retail locations. So let's say we have at least 5 locations here. So that cuts it down to 358, which if we do 2 or 3, so let's just do 2 for now. So at least a couple locations according to the Apollo data. So we're down to like 2,000 companies. And you eyeball it, it's pretty, it seems to be pretty accurate. So you can continue to scroll through this if you want and fine tune things kind of with excluding certain keywords as well. Maybe there's certain company sizes you don't want. Um, in a in um, a category like this, Apollo's data is not going to be perfectly accurate, like for employees as an example, because if I'm an employee at uh, Dutch Bros Coffee or whatever, I don't know that I'm going to have like a LinkedIn profile as an example, or things like that. So it might not always grab perfect everybody's data. So these are probably more corporate contacts. So I'm going to get rid of the companies that have less than 10 employees. So now we're down to like 715 companies. Um, I think it's pretty accurate here. A lot of these look like coffee shops with different locations. If you go into any specific one, just to show you on the location data. So this is Dunn Brothers Coffee. I've never heard of them, but scroll down. There's a lot of Minnesota, Texas, Wisconsin. So they have 56 coffee locations. So that's pretty good. Seems like a good target for this specific list. Now, what I would do as well is if I go back to this list, I'd grab all these companies, add to a list. Coffee shop franchises, create this at the account level. So now I have a nice clean list of 809 coffee shops that now I can, if I want, do all sorts of different things with that, right? Like find people that match certain personas at those companies, or run different plays off of it, or whatever. But it's a good kind of initial list to run through. And if we're eyeballing this list too, like McDonald's, not really a coffee shop. Yeah, they serve coffee at there, but that's not what we're looking for. So I would probably just manually remove the account from that list and go back, and after I refresh, they should be gone from that list. So sometimes with building these kind of lists in Apollo, it can take a little bit of work to fine tune things, but that's a good way to kind of get started.